So we have yet another candidate running for president in the Democratic primary, and boy, she has a very strange platform. Take a look at this one.
Joining me now, another 2020 contender and author of a new book, A Politics of Love. One of my favorite subjects. You know, I believe if we gave just a little bit more love, it would go a whole long way. Marianne Williamson. Marianne, welcome. Congratulations on your new book.
Thank you.
Congratulations on deciding to run, but let's be honest, the odds are not in your favor. You do not have political experience. Why do you think you could do the job?
Well, first of all, Trump's president, isn't he?
He is.
So this idea of saying who's probable or what can happen, I think that our most recent history has proven that the American people are looking for whatever the American people are looking for, and not necessarily towing the line with what a kind of establishment tells us is what's predictable or what's likely to happen. You know, so much of your programming in the last hour has spoken about what's really happening, and it's not necessarily who's running and what's happening in South Bend. It has to do with starting with the Harvard poll that talks about people's anxiety, that talks about people's sense that the country is morally off. It has to do with the fact that Boeing is putting sales before the highest level of ethical standard, security standard. It has to do with things like the fact that drug manufacturers and pharmaceutical companies are starting to be held accountable for the fact that they are knowingly overselling and overprescribing drugs and over-manufacturing, et cetera. There is a moral and an ethical erosion. It has to do with the fact that Giuliani would say what he's saying. Like it doesn't matter if with this administration, if they lie, if they talk that it's okay that Russia helps them as long as it helps them make the sale. We have allowed a sales mentality. Get the sale, to completely erode the soul and the ethics and the character of this country. That is a political factor. The fact that the Republicans were so gobsmacked by Trump to begin with, the fact that the Democrats were so gobsmacked by Bernie, speaks to the fact that the political establishment did not recognize the anxiety, did not recognize the internal factors that were going on inside people that do drive politics. So I'm talking about the politics that's underneath. It's the movement of the plates, the tectonic plates that do end up with political consequences. So the horse race is nice and it's entertaining and it's theater, but it's not necessarily what's deeply going on, and it doesn't necessarily predict what will be going on in the next 2 years.
I have no idea what's going on when I watch that. I'm sitting there like plate tectonics and underneath guys, understand this. This is what happens when you legalize weed. Understand, I'm totally fine with that, but there are some consequences, and every once in a while you get someone who's been doing the stuff and then they go on here and they have some crazy freaking ideas. They're super above the fray, oh my gosh, I figured it out. It's the plate tectonics. What are you saying? I tried writing notes on this, guys. I had a really tough time because that was one of the most incoherent messages I've ever seen. So the whole book had to do with something about love. So he's pulling like a Cory Booker kind of a thing, which, that doesn't play well with Americans. You can't just pick some really warm words like love and peace, right? You can't just pick words and throw them at people and say, vote for me, love, vote for me. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. Look at Hillary Clinton. That's kind of what she did. And so what is she running on? She's running on the fact that people have anxiety about the stresses of the work environment where companies are trying to get sales. I got news for you. It's always been that way. There is never a point in history where corporations were let's not try to run as much profit as we can. Let's try to be a little bit moral about what we're doing. I don't know what she's talking about. Even in the 1950s when America was flourishing, people were working their freaking butts off, but they were still fine. Look at the happiest place on earth. People are working. And yeah, their anxiety is lower because maybe they're working less hours or something like that, but they're still working. It's not like they're just relaxing on recliners all day, doing nothing. That's not how it works in Finland and Norway and Sweden and whatever. That's what happens, guys. I'm telling you. Plate tectonics. I don't know. This is like the left version of Alex Jones. I can't tell. There was no policy position whatsoever in that. Not one policy. Like, what are you going to do to address this anxiety problem that apparently Americans are not, like, metacognitively aware of? We're just so engulfed in this anxiety that we don't even know it exists. So she's like enlightening us with all of this plate tectonic stuff. Can you tell me what you're going to do now that I'm aware that apparently I have all this anxiety and whatever, and that, you know, where I work is just trying to get my profits and whatever. Can you tell me what you're going to do? Are you going to, like, she mentioned Boeing. Boeing puts sales above ethics. So what are you going to do about it? I'm really curious. I didn't plan on doing this, but I want to play the rest of this segment because I want to see if she does answer this question. I stopped at this point because I remember thinking to myself, okay, I have to do a video on this. Literally, this video makes no sense whatsoever. I gotta share with people how stupid this is. Let's take a look if she even addresses any of these things that I just brought up.
And you say that love is the answer. Politics of Love is a handbook for a new revolution. All that you've outlined just then, I mean, even calling capitalism into question.
No,
these are crises.
I'm for capitalism with a conscience. So when you say calling capitalism into question, I don't call it into question any more than Ray Dalio or Jeremy Grantham, some of the main capitalist leaders. You yourself have talked about economics, but how capitalism needs to have an ethical center. So that's not calling into question the inherent dynamic there.
But
so real quick, yeah, my question, I'm hoping I haven't seen this part, guys. This is my actual genuine reaction. Tell me what you mean by that. You can't just say, I want a moral capitalistic environment. Yeah, join the club of like all the other political candidates. You're nothing new. You're nothing special. Tell us what you mean, and then you might be able to distinguish yourself from people like Bernie Sanders, for instance. All right, let's see where the host goes with this.
how do we correct all of this with love? Love is an amazing idea, an incredible sentiment. But if you said that to people who are suffering in this country, do they believe love is the answer?
Yeah, and I have a 35-year career helping people transform from trauma to transformation. First of all, on a political field, are we going to say that hatred has not been operationalized? What do you call ISIS if not hatred turned into a political force? What do you call racism? What do you call Nazis? What do you call these people?
No, I'm done. I'm done. Oh my gosh, I shouldn't have paused. I should have watched the whole video. I didn't know that was going to happen. What is she talking about? What the heck is she talking about? No, people are not like, you know what? I just want love. Holy crap, she's smoking freaking something else, man. Whoa. Oh my gosh, no. Okay, I'm gonna try to see if I can. I'm going to rewind just a little bit because I'm really curious what she just said.
Say that hatred has not been operationalized? What do you call ISIS if not hatred turned into a political force? What do you call racism? What do you call Nazis? What do you call these people marching through the streets of Charlottesville saying Jews shall not replace us? This is bigotry, racism, anti-Semitism turned into a political force. We can also turn love, and just love has attributes just like hatred does, like justice, mass incarceration. That is a lack of love turned into a political force. Economic injustice, where through tax policies and corporate subsidies, we systematically remove the major parts of the public treasury into the hands of a very few people. That is the absence of love operationalized. Helping the children. I want to have a Department of Children and Youth because of the millions of American children who live in chronic trauma. That's love operationalized. We must wage peace around the world, not just prepare for war, expand economic opportunities for women, expand educational opportunities for children, diminish human suffering wherever possible. That is love operationalized.
Almost got into policy there. She started talking about education. I'm like, oh, almost. Nope. We need love. That's what we need, guys. So what's the moral of the story here for this Democratic candidate? Love. So, you know what? She's going to go on the debate stage. She's not going to go on the debate stage, but if she goes on the debate stage, they're going to ask her, so what are your opinions on free speech regarding, do you think YouTube should have the right to censor, or do you think that everything should be going through a judicial process? Love. I don't even know what to say right now.